Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we are going to dive into the wild and, let's be honest, pretty terrifying evolution of malware. We're talking about a journey from the early days of digital pranks all the way to today's cyber threats that are actually powered by artificial intelligence. So let's get right into it. This quote right here, it absolutely nails what we're talking about. It perfectly captures that massive leap from a simple computer virus to what we're up against now. An opponent that's intelligent, that's fast, and that adapts. See, it's not just about lines of code anymore. It's about strategy. It's the difference between a kid pulling a fire alarm and a team of professional bank robbers. All right, so let's rewind the clock. Let's go back to the first wave, back in the 90s and the early 2000s. You have to remember the whole motivation back then was totally different. It wasn't about money. Nope. It was about chaos, about bragging rights, about seeing your name in the headlines. It was basically digital graffiti on a global scale. Now, to really get what was going on back then, you have to understand the key difference in how these things spread. Think of a virus like a passenger. It needs a ride. It needs you to click on an infected file to go anywhere. But a worm, whoa, a worm could drive itself. It could just spread across networks all on its own, looking for holes to wiggle through. And that, right there, was a massive escalation. Okay, picture this. The year is 2000. You're checking your email, and one pops up with the subject line, "I love you." It's so personal, it's intriguing. I mean, how could you not click on that? And that simple, kind of brilliant bit of psychology was the key that unlocked one of the most destructive viruses in history. And this is what happened next. $10 billion. That's the estimated damage from that one simple email. It tore through computers, overwriting photos, music, documents, and then it emailed itself to everyone in your address book. It just set off this catastrophic global chain reaction. It's the perfect example of how a so-called prank could have devastating real-world consequences. And the toolkit was definitely growing. It wasn't just viruses and worms anymore. Oh no, we started seeing Trojan horses, which would hide inside what looked like perfectly safe software. Then you had macroviruses that would hitch a ride inside an everyday Word document. And then the really sneaky stuff, rootkits, designed to be completely invisible, just hiding in your system. The age of digital chaos was getting a whole lot more sophisticated. So all that growing sophistication, it led us right into our second wave, which really kicked off around the 2010s. And here, the game just completely changed. The goal wasn't fame anymore, it was fortune. Cybercrime went pro. It became this highly organized, multi-billion-dollar illegal business. And the signature weapon of this whole era? Ransomware. The idea is just brutally simple. Attackers break into your network, they use super strong encryption to lock up every single one of your files, and then they send you a note demanding a ransom, usually in crypto, to get the key. It's digital extortion. It's that simple. But of course, the attackers got smarter. They figured out that some companies might just restore their files from a backup and refuse to pay, so they came up with double extortion. See, before they lock everything up, they steal your most sensitive data. So now the threat isn't just pay up to get your files back. It's pay up or we leak all of your company secrets, all of your customer data, everything, to the entire world. The pressure to pay just became enormous. And the impact was just staggering. You had WannaCry infecting over 230,000 computers, crippling hospitals of the UK. You had the Colonial Pipeline attack that led to actual fuel shortages on the US East Coast. And then there's the Conti Group, which literally brought the entire government of Costa Rica to its knees. This wasn't just some corporate IT problem anymore. This was a full-blown national security threat. The targets weren't just random businesses. They were critical infrastructure, hospitals, pipelines, even governments, proving that they could disrupt society itself. Which brings us to right now, the third wave. And this is where things get really futuristic. We're now walking into the age of AI-driven cyber attacks. The bad guys are using the exact same technology that's in our smartphones and self-driving cars to build a whole new generation of malware. And that really leads us to the big question of this new era, doesn't it? For years, malware was just a script. It was predictable. It did what it was told. But what happens when it's not following a script anymore? What happens when malware actually starts to think for itself? Think about it. A human hacker, even a genius, has limits. They have to sleep. They learn through trial and error. They operate at, well, human speed. An AI hacker, it doesn't have any of those problems.
It can run thousands of automated attacks at the exact same time, tailoring each one, adapting its strategy on the fly, all at machine speed. The scale is it's hard to even wrap your head around.
So, how are they actually doing this? Well, for starters, AI can literally write the malware. Malicious large language models, things like WormGPT, can just generate harmful code on demand. Second, AI is great at picking targets, sifting through mountains of data to find the weakest link. Third, AI helps the malware hide. It creates something called polymorphic code. Think of it like a digital chameleon that's constantly changing to avoid getting caught. And last, and maybe scariest of all, are deepfakes, those ultra-realistic fake videos and audio clips used for a whole new level of fraud.
And listen, this isn't science fiction. This isn't some far-off future problem. It is happening right now. Back in 2020, criminals used an AI clone of a CEO's voice to trick an employee into wiring away almost $250,000. By 2023, WormGPT was out in the wild, and we were hearing about deepfake videos being used in job interviews to try and plant spies inside tech companies. The speed of this escalation is just incredible. So, this all leads us to the new cyber battlefield. The fight isn't just about stopping a piece of code anymore. It's an arms race against an enemy that is constantly learning, constantly adapting, and constantly improving itself, all without a human having to lift a finger. So as you can see, the evolution is crystal clear. It's been this three-act story, from hackers looking for fame by causing disruption, to organized criminals looking for profit, and now to a totally new era of strategic, automated attacks powered by AI. And that really just leaves us with one final and pretty sobering question. In this new arms race, where both the good guys and the bad guys are using AI, what happens if the malicious AI learns and adapts faster than our defenses can? Are we actually prepared for a threat that learns faster than we do? It's a challenge that is absolutely going to define the future of cybersecurity.